So I get asked a lot, Ben, how do you do what you do? How do you find the motivation to get in the gym and push yourself that hard? And when I get asked that question, I think back to a picture I posted on Instagram recently, my transformation from high school till now. So y'all didn't know me back in high school, but I weighed about 103 pounds. I wrestled 103 my freshman and sophomore year in high school. And then I moved up to 112 junior year, so getting those gains. But when I was in high school, I was small on the outside. I was even fucking tinier on the inside, man. I was tiny on the inside. I had zero confidence. I had zero faith in myself. I was so tied up in what other people thought of me that it was really, really tough, man. Like, I was scared to speak up in class. I couldn't get a date. It was all I could really do was sink myself into the gym. And I got good news and bad news. So the good news is you can build that confidence up, right? So you graduate from high school, you graduate from college, you get a job, you're like, okay, I can kind of make it as an adult. You do good as a lifter, you're like, all right, I can be a little bit more well-rounded, you get in a relationship that's really positive, and you get that feedback, and you can really improve those ways. But let me tell you, man, that feeling that you're not good enough and worrying about what other people think of you, that shit never goes away. It doesn't. And so I think, this is the point where most people are like, oh, you should feel good about yourself and you gotta accept you. And I think that's bullshit, honestly. I think that feeling of not being good enough and maybe even worrying about what other people think about you to a degree, it's good, because that is your motivation. That is what's gonna drive you to push harder, to be a better person in whatever you're doing. Whether it's at the gym, whether it's in your career, whether it's in your relationship, the feeling that you're not good enough is a very, very powerful motivator. The trick, obviously, is to not let this feeling that you're not good enough get you down on yourself, get you depressed, get you feeling like shit, basically, not making you not able to give your all to something, right? It has to enhance you, it has to build you up, it can't drag you down. And that's a very difficult balance to find. So the way I do it is through meditation. And I just practice my meditation every morning. And then when I get that feeling, right? So I'm scrolling through Instagram, right? I'm scrolling through Instagram and I get on Larry Wheel's profile and I'm like, God damn it, man. Like, I've been training all this time and I'm still not as big as Larry. I'm still not as strong as Larry. I still don't have as many followers as Larry. What the fuck am I doing wrong? As soon as I realize that I had that feeling going, I think back to my meditation. I think to that feeling of that calm, just kind of focus, right? Where you're not so latched on to your thoughts and you're not so tied to the idea that you're not good enough. You can see that as a thought and you can step back from it. And you just do that over and over and over again, and eventually it gets to the point where you can feel those feelings and you can let them be motivating, but you don't have to get captured by them. You don't have to get tied up in them. And you can still go about your life. You can still put 100% effort, 110% effort into whatever you're doing, and you're even better because you have that driving, that intrinsic driving force. So there's no one right answer. Meditation might not be the right thing for you, but I really, really recommend that if you're looking for motivation or you're looking for a way to be a better person, I really think that that's a route to go. So I'm going to link to some articles below that I've written about this topic because it's something that's really, really important to me. It's made a huge difference in my life, in my relationships, in my lifting. Man, I used to be such a head case as a lifter because I'd step off the platform. I was so fucking nervous about, man, what's going to happen if I miss this lift? What are people going to think of me? And when you get tied up in those thoughts, you panic and you can't think about pushing yourself hard. You can't think about your technique. And once you can kind of just step back from them, it's like, oh yeah, man, I don't want to fucking miss this lift. I want to be my best self. And you can give 100% to focusing on that lift. And I mean, you can look at my performances back 2-3 years ago and compare them to how they are now. It's night and day. So the app I use is Headspace. I'm going to link to it below. I have no affiliation with Headspace. It's really, really been helpful for me. You don't have to use an app. You can meditate on your own. But that's the answer to that question. I hope it's helpful to somebody. If you're struggling yourself or you have tips on how to get past some of this stuff, please leave it in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.